Welcome to the 72nd edition of the Red Man Group. I am your host and moderator, Donovan Sharp. We are presented in part by the 21 Convention, which is less than a month away, guys. July 18th through the 21st. The 21 Convention will be in Warsaw, Poland. Tickets are still available. I am actually going to put the link in the chat right now. Very good. So I put the link in the chat right now. You can also get the link in the description of this video. You can also get tickets to October's event in Orlando, which goes down October 24th through the 27th. But act now, because the earlier you buy, the more you save. All right, let's get right to it, guys. Today we are discussing a very important topic that the vast majority of men, red pill aware or otherwise, are grossly unaware of. And it's the necessary sacrifices a man must make to have a good relationship with a woman. We talk a lot about the necessary changes you have to make, like your mindset, your physique, your financial outlook, your spending habits, and so forth. And if you're here, if you're watching the show, you already know that keeping your high value is the only real way to mitigate. You can never really guarantee that a woman's never going to screw you over, but keeping your value high is a way to at least mitigate the damage a woman could do if you don't keep your shit together. Now, we also talk on the other side about the sacrifices women need to make to get and keep a man in demand, like giving up girls' nights out, getting and staying in shape, giving up social media attention and validation seeking, keeping in contact with their exes, and so on and so forth. But what is almost never discussed are the sacrifices that men have to make. And I can guarantee you that most of you guys watching, you guys haven't heard of these. And I'd even go as far as to say that some of our panelists were joined by Steve and Anthony today. We've got other guys that are going to drop in. I can almost guarantee that you guys haven't really thought of these either. So it'll be interesting to get everyone's organic reactions to these. But before we go ahead and get started, let me quickly introduce the today's panel. First up, we have Anthony Dream Johnson. Then, of course, we have Steve the Dean Williams. How's it going, guys?
Yo, going pretty good, man. Glad to be back and setting up the multi-stream to 21 Studios and our Twitter accounts too.
Excellent. Yeah, we are streaming live right now to 21 Studios, the Red Man Group channel. I think we're having trouble with Twitter and Facebook, but we're just, I think those are the only two mediums we're streaming on right now, correct?
Yeah, Twitter I think is going, but it's just weird, the multi-stream thing. We'll switch to a new software next time, but it'll be fine next time. Okay. I think it's live on Twitter in the meantime.
Perfect. So. Steve, how's it going, brother?
Man, it's going, man. Hanging out with y'all, man. Everything's good, brother.
Good stuff. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to talk about some of the sacrifices that men have to make. And again, I want to get you guys' honest opinion on these, because I don't know, maybe we'll have some disagreements, maybe we'll have some pushback here. But the first sacrifice you have to make is your woman has to be introverted. And let me explain what I mean by this. Illimitable Man and I, we talked about this extensively on my show a little over 3 years ago. As a matter of fact, it was actually back around Valentine's Day of 16, and I was still living in Reno, trying to decide whether or not I wanted to move to Phoenix or Philly. I obviously ended up here in Philly. Anyway, having a wife or girlfriend who is an extrovert does have its advantages, okay? Unfortunately, none of those advantages have anything to do with the actual strength of your relationship. An extroverted female, gentlemen, what that ends up doing is that draws attention to both to herself, both directly and indirectly, both good and bad. So strictly speaking, in relationship terms, a necessary sacrifice is a woman's outgoing personality. She's got to be an introvert. And the main reason is that introverted females draw far less attention to themselves, which drastically reduces the odds of creating opportunities for infidelity. Anthony, what are your thoughts on foregoing the extrovert, the outgoing, life of the party type girl, and going for the introverted girl?
Yeah, I think there's some meat there, but my first thought when I heard this conversation is much more fundamental. And so you're talking about sacrifice from a man, from a woman, and then being in a relationship together and what that's going to look like. So my first and most immediate and important thought is that women love sacrificing for a man they value. And as a man, you are going to have to sacrifice, and I don't even like that word actually too much, especially as a man. I think what really most men mean when they say that is like they want to trade something. And you have to trade something if you're going to be in a relationship. You only have 24 hours in a day. Time out of your life, attention, all that stuff's going to have to, be traded out if you're not some bachelor like me, just fucking doing whatever you want on Tinder and bars and shit. But I do believe at a deep level, women love sacrificing for a man. and they want to do that for you. They want to, and you want to do it and push it in ways that make sense without being like, unless you're into this kind of shit. But it should not be sadistic and malicious. But outside of that, you should do it as hardcore as you can. So if she gives up girls' nights out, gives up all this little bullshit she used to do, or maybe she didn't do it in the first place, but if she did, she can give that up. If she can give up something out of her life for you, that's what she wants to do. So it's part of what makes women happy.
Right.
It's part of being submissive. And a lot of men don't understand that, and they want to. I know this was me too back in the day. Even after finding pickup and being able to pull girls out of bars and stuff, one night stands, fucking in the back of a car, pulling a girl home in 45 minutes flat or something like that. I didn't really grasp this element of it, that women love sacrificing, they love submission, not just in the bedroom, choking them out or something because they're like screaming, fuck me harder, daddy, but even much more simplistic stuff. Whatever they can take out of it. If you could, it's like when you demand a girl, make me a fucking sandwich. It's funny for us to say that, but they love doing that. They love shit like that, especially when it's like this thrust.
Yes.
Sacrifice your time, go to the fucking fridge, make me a fucking sandwich, and make it fucking delicious. They love this kind of play, this kind of the interplay between male and female like that. So that's my most important thought with it, is that women love sacrificing, period. Whether it's girls' nights out or spending 3 hours cooking you dinner, if you have the value and the masculinity to earn that, they want to give it to you.
Right.
And they want that kind of relationship. I think 90% of women dumps up stuff. It's not a fetish. It's like, this is human life and this is human nature at play in like a really important way.
Well
Does that answer
said.
your question?
No, that perfectly answers my question. And you bring up a very good point. You said it's not a fetish, right? And a lot of guys think, well, it's a fetish if you want an introverted girl because they want to be dominated. No, this is the way of woman. Like, this is how this works. Steve, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm gonna go the other side of the spectrum. I don't look at a woman as far as being introverted or extroverted, because if you think about it, let's look. I mean, I talked about this at the 21 convention. If you're at your, a job doesn't look at a person's introvert or extrovert. They look at them to see if they get the job done at the end of the day. So I don't look at a woman and sit there, and I don't look at her being outgoing. I don't mind if she's outgoing because that's who she is, just as long as she follows my rules. Like Anthony was saying, give me a fucking sandwich and make sure that shit is fucking good.
Right.
But if you can't do it, you're replaceable. Just like my mindset, and I kind of Anthony again, that sacrifice. I hate using that word, but I understand where the word is coming from. But to me, the greatest sacrifice is replacement. I mean, and that's not even a sacrifice, but a lot of women are just what they are. You know what I mean? And I can't force an introvert to be extrovert, more or less an extrovert to be introvert. You can't force that in somebody. But what you can do, real quick, what you can do is when you have your standard. See, to me, it's all about the man. I don't give a fuck what she is, intra, extra, around the corner, upside down. I don't care what she is. As long as when she's with me, she follows what the fuck I am and what I say. And other than that, she can be whatever she wants, because that's what attracted me to her in the first place.
That's a very good point. And just to clarify, and I know people are probably thinking this. I'm certainly not endorsing, and I like it when we have these disagreements, because I think we get better content like this. I'm not talking about the fact that you want to force introversion. My thought is that when looking for and this isn't to say that extroverted women always make the worst mates. What I'm saying is, in order to reduce the odds, if a woman wants to cheat, she'll cheat. We all know this, whether she's an introvert or extrovert. But to reduce the odds of a woman running around on you, it is my opinion that an introverted female is going to be less likely to have those opportunities. The extrovert, the life of the party, she draws attention to herself both directly and indirectly. And I actually got a comment in here in the other chat. Render Defender says, this introvert mate guarding his scarcity mentality. That doesn't have anything to do with it, because what it comes down to is you can't get with an extroverted girl and try to force introversion on her. You can't say, oh my God, my girlfriend is always attention whoring and she's always doing this and the other. Guess what, dude? That's your fault. It's your fault you selected that girl. If one of your standards, if your standard is, okay, I don't really need to be with a woman who is extroverted. They opposites attract. You have to complement one another. If you have an extroverted man and an extroverted woman, okay, that's all well and good. Strictly for the purposes of reducing the odds of her running around on you, you want a woman who is not as likely to draw attention to herself, both directly and indirectly. If you're attracted to extroverted females, great. And I would even go with Steve on this. It's something of an accomplishment to get with an extroverted girl, but when she's around you, she's introverted, because that means she is submitting to you. Yeah. That's you know what I mean? So if she's the life of the party everywhere else she goes, but then when she's with you, she's subdued, there's something to be said about that. But again, when she is that extroverted person, when she is not with you, she is more likely to draw, I guess, unwanted attention as far as you're concerned. So no, this doesn't have anything to do with mate guarding. This has to do with making sure that you have what you want before you go after her. Because if you get with an extroverted female and then complain that she's extroverted, that's on you, my dude. Like, that's the way that goes. So, and again, I'll use Devin as an example. Her and I are completely the opposites. Obviously, I'm an extrovert. She is an introvert. That is one of the main reasons I decided to give her a shot for a long-term relationship, because I know that when she's not with me, at least as far as I know, she's not as likely to draw attention to herself when she's not with me.
Donovan, real quick, I'd like to say this. All right. Okay. When it comes to, this is what I love about this. Just how we thinking and all this. I love this. So the thing is that for a lot of guys out there who don't display man characteristics, worry more about an extrovert than a man like myself, you, or Anthony, because a woman knows, look, you fuck up one time, you're gone. I mean, there's no Dr. Phil or marriage counseling. It's over with. That's right. Now, when she gets with someone who is less of a man, that, okay, honey, it's okay, and you can have the guy friends and you can go out and party and all that other stuff. You understand something? Women want somebody to dominate them. Right. And if you're not dominating her in your relationship, whatever you're not, guys, get your crayons out. Whatever you're doing in your relationship, she is always going to be looking for outside of it. So the extrovert is going to be looking for someone of dominance. Now, not to maybe not marry. She might want to sleep with him or something like that to get a feeling of what it's like to be with, like, right. Like I'm gonna use what A1 said a second about fix me that goddamn sandwich. What if she's at home and the guy's like, is it okay if you fix me a sandwich? And can you please do this? And don't worry about it. I'll fix it. When you're like that, and she's looking for a bitch, you better fix my sandwich, and that shit better be good. She's going to look for that in somebody. Not to say she's gonna marry it, but when it comes along, she's gonna weigh options out. Well, I've got a guy that's soft and doughy versus a guy that's telling me not only my sandwich better be good, but you better go fix that shit. And
do it wearing a thong and put on the fucking hat while you're at it.
Damn right.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So I want to add on this too, that in terms of personality type, extroverted, introverted, or whatever else, extroverted personality would scream to me like attention seeking, and that even if she was a certain behavior set before you met her, if she didn't dramatically tone that down for you, well, that's not her not submitting to your frame, assuming right. That's what you want, which I'm assuming most guys, it's going to be something along those lines, independent of your own personality type. Most men are not going to want their girl out, hornet around town with their friends on girls' night out 7 nights a week. It's just nuts. You can be out as fuck, but eventually, some dude's going to walk up to her and it's going to cause a problem in your life. It's going to cause, she's going to fucking act on it. There's another thing I wanted to comment on too. It's an extrovert personality type. Oh yeah. So I think when a woman, I think that this is like Red Pill Wisdom 101, but I believe this to the bone, that when you meet a woman, an element of the genuine desire and her attraction to you at like a deep arousal level is she wants to adapt her personality to fit your wants and desires genuinely too. Now, if she's a cluster B clusterfuck and she has a personality disorder, she'll do this too, but she'll take it to this extreme, absurd level. Or if she's codependent or has like severe daddy issues or who the fuck knows what, right? But independent of all the disordered, mental health type issues and shit like that,
right?
It's very natural for women to want to do this. And And another thing too, Andrew the Private Man and Texas Dom both, but Andrew, rest in peace, former speaker of the convention, 21, but he died a couple years ago, cancer. They're both very good at articulating dom-sub relationships, real dominance, which is not domineering, which is how most men inside and outside of the manosphere, if they're new to it, that's how they take it. They hear dominance and it's just like rage mode screaming, that's dominant. That's not dominance. That's domineering behavior. Some women are going to be into that, but most of them are not going to be, except in rare instances. But all women virtually respond to real, genuine dominance. And that's where they submit to your frame willingly and eagerly and genuinely. And that's the difference that most men don't get. It has to be, and that's what, if I yell at a girl and tell her, make me a fucking sandwich, it's coming from a good place. And she'll get the subtext to that in the tone. She'll get the subtext to that, and then I just railed her for 2 hours, and she was screaming, "I love you, daddy, fuck me harder," or whatever. So there's context to this kind of language. I'm all about manners, please and thank you. But women don't respond to that, and it's counterproductive to fucking say that shit to the extreme. So what do you say? You say things that make sense to them, that turns them on and makes them happy, which is go make me a fucking sandwich, bitch. I love you. Go fucking do it, and put a fucking thong on, and put the fucking hat on, or whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean.
So but Texas Dom, even I think his report with George Bruno recently, he went into this a little bit, Dom sub stuff, and Andrew the Private Man he spoke about it in his speech at the convention, as well as I think later with Socrates on an interview. So yeah, it's a really, in my opinion, Dom sub behavior and sex and relationships is like the red pill of sex and like the red pill of how relationships actually work.
Yes.
Just like you do, Donovan. You fucking stamp your girl's ass literally with a stamp. That's straight awesome. Up. I need to do that too. I can't wait.
Your stamp needs to say the dream.
Oh, it'll just say dream or dream's property or something like that. Yeah, totally.
Right.
But dude, like 95% of women would fucking love that or do love that, and they dream about that shit. Knock on wood. But
now, listen, I agree with the both of you. And there's actually another good comment. SCO2492. He or she says introverted women can't always be trusted either. Listen, absolutely not.
Oh yeah.
But again, I totally agree with you. No woman can be trusted. But within the confines of a sexual relationship between a man and a woman, if you want a woman who is less likely to put herself in position, either directly or indirectly, to cheat on you, misbehave, an introverted woman is far less likely to do that. And I'll actually go on to the other side here. To me, this comes down to selecting a female who is less likely to be misbehaved. We all love extroverted girls. They're fun, better sex, etc. And so when you select an extroverted girl, that is a high risk, high reward, correct? Like high risk, high reward. The more extroverted she is, the more likely she is to attract male attention. The more introverted she is, the less likely she is to attract male attention. This isn't to say that the introverted girl can't and won't attract male attention.
Well, Donovan, I'd like to disagree with you here a little bit.
Okay, yeah, please.
A second ago, you said you can't trust women. I trust women deeply. I trust them to be women.
Oh,
so for me, that's been part of my ripple journey. Is I really just like, it doesn't matter to me. Like I trust them to be women. I trust them to be biologically consistent and behaviorally consistent with how they've evolved. So I trust them to be women, which means they speak. They speak womanese, as you put it, Donovan.
Absolutely,
you have to constantly read through what they say. Rarely do they speak overtly and directly. And they will be squirrely the minute that their vagina is not, wrapped around your dick and eager to be wrapped around your dick. So you got to watch them. You got to trust but verify. That's a part of, I think, that's the only rational way to trust women is to trust but verify, because they're like giant children.
Well, this was SCO2492. He says introverted women can't always be trusted either. I think that women, I agree with you. You can only trust women to be women. The trust I think that we're discussing here is the integrity of your relationship. And as far as I'm concerned, you can never trust women. Just like you said, trust but verify. We do things to mitigate the trust and all this other kind of stuff. One last thing I want to make on this actually has to do with what you said about submitting to your frame. It doesn't matter if she's an introvert or an extrovert. If she submits to your frame, it doesn't really matter. To that, I would disagree. I want my woman, okay? I want her to submit to my frame, whether she is with me or not. Because you can have an extroverted girl who appears to be introverted around you, but when she's not around you, she's still getting all of that male attention. Now, it could just be attention, and you might be the high value male. She just might like to flirt around. This is just what all women do. But Introverted girls are much more likely to submit to my frame when I am not with them than extroverted girls are. This isn't to say that you couldn't have one without the other, but in my mind, this comes down to selecting a woman who is less likely to put herself in a precarious position to violate your trust or the quote unquote sanctity of the relationship. And it's my opinion that introverted girls are just better off for that.
I mean, Steve, I was going to say, the sanctity of the relationship for women comes down to. No. I think it's a real. It means different things to men and women. Like for women, it means that literally to them in their head, they'll never voice this in words, but in their head, the sanctity of the relationship means their pussy gets wet for you constantly. They are aroused by you constantly or all the time, deeply, and the arousal and the dominance are high, and they really fucking enjoy it. If those things were getting hit nail on the head, I mean, that's basically love for them. They're not going to turn on that, or the likelihood of that happening is low. There's another thing I wanted to comment on that too, but Steve, go ahead. I'll think about it.
Yeah, what you got, Steve?
No, and this is what I want to say, Donovan. See, if she's introverted, okay, don't think that she's still not going to get hit on.
Of course,
right?
Course.
Yeah, women. Look, women are going to get hit on all the time. So there's nothing that I can say or do about the hit on, but she needs to know what the repercussions of if she takes the hit to another level. If she because see, when you're doing it right, the thing for a lot of guys is weird is when you're doing it right, they will come to you and say, you won't believe this. This guy was trying to talk to me. This guy was trying to get at me, and they will bring the information to you. You don't even have to ask them because when they value you and they say, okay, that out of all the guys out there, you know what? This is the guy I want to rock with, and I don't want to lose this guy, so I want to do everything I can. And what I say, it always starts in the beginning. When a woman is really into you, she's going to tell you what she's doing, and then they'll take a goddamn selfie and send it to you just to show you what they're doing to prove their point. So if she's introverted, look, she's going to get hit on. It's what you do at that point, because I can't keep her in a basement. I can't.
Oh, no. Listen, I want to make clear. I'm definitely not talking about that. Like, I'm not.
No, I'm just saying, no, I'm not saying you. Okay. I'm saying for those that are listening, I'm saying that for me, I like I said, I don't give a fuck. I mean, I only care about me. I mean, I don't give a fuck. But with that being said, if I'm with you, you're representing me in my name. So you better act and behave like you are representing me. And if I catch it that you're not, you're going. Now, again, it's not like you're going the first time like a job. You get a warning. You know, you can clean that shit up or we done. But other than that, see, I got options. And when you have options, that's when they act correctly to the man that has options. But if you don't have options, she's going to be looking for somebody because there's nobody else that wants you. Women want what other women have. So regardless if she's intro or extroverted, if you have the options, she's more likely to follow your lead if she knows that you ain't the only one.
Absolutely. Let me rebuttal with this. Introverted girls and extroverted girls, they get hit on all the time. There is no doubt about it. But extroverted girls get hit on more. And the reason for that is because she's simply more outgoing. She is an extrovert, and a natural byproduct of her personality means more attention to herself. Here's another thing. As a man, and anybody who's watching this, you have to understand, because Steve said something that's very important. There is nothing you can do. Okay. If your woman, even if your woman is mildly attractive, men are going to hit on her, wedding ring or not. Yep. Even if she has a tattoo of her boyfriend's face on her face, doesn't matter. Dudes are going to holler. And the reason I know this is because I hollered as well. I know there's nothing I can do, especially when I'm not there. And I also want people to understand that I'm not saying that introverted girls never attention whore. No, I am simply saying that introverted girls are less likely to attention whore and draw attention to themselves. To me, I'm playing the odds, right? Let me play devil's advocate here, Donovan. Okay.
Introverted women, if they do seek attention, are going to be much more sneaky and covert about it.
Oh, yes.
Personality type.
Yeah. Very good argument. Yep.
Yeah, hypergamy doesn't care, right? Hypergamy is going to win out.
I agree. And introverted girls do it on the sneak tip, but extroverted girls, they might not be as covert as introverted girls, but more people see, I guess, the slut transponder. Introverted girls, attention whore on the low. There's no question about that. But more, again, extroverted girls just draw more attention to themselves. And again, here's the thing: introverted girls do attention whore, but they're not nearly as much as extroverted girls. And I think I can speak for all three of us when I say this. None of us here are going to put a gun to a woman's head, because if you have to put a gun to a woman's head, or if you have to quote unquote lock her in a proverbial cage, then you're doing it wrong. She's either going to submit to your will or she is not. There is nothing you can't control another woman's behavior. You can only control your own. But for me, introverted girls are much better behaved. If you can handle an extroverted girl, that's fine. I've handled extroverted girls, but for me, as far as I'm concerned, extroverted girls, to me, that's playing the game on that. I don't want to say playing the game on hard mode, but extroverted girls to me are much less likely to put themselves either directly or indirectly in harm's way. As it were, Steve, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, let me throw another monkey wrench in this monkey wrench y'all have. What about an introverted woman that doesn't realize she's really extroverted because all the guys she's been with has not really unlocked the whore and bad girl in her?
Right.
And all she's been doing is walking around closed-minded to the world until she runs into a you, Donovan, or Anthony. You know, she's like, oh, you know, Anthony like, bitch, give me my session, baby. Good shot. Oh. And then she's like,
nice, stupid.
Right? She's like, oh my God, I've never been talked to that way. But then she's like, she's fighting, you know, who she is versus who she was versus who she really is. And some introverted girls, depending on the guy, opens them up, because there's women out there that always would tell you, I don't suck a dick, or, you know, I'll never eat pussy, or I'll never right? You know, I'm a good girl. And then after you get done with her, she's like, can I have some more, daddy? Please give me some more dick and come. So what I'm saying is, you have that introvert too that might be who has never had access or met a man to pull that out of her, guys.
Right. I want to add on here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So following up on what Steve just said, in my own experience, one of the reasons women love to be dominated genuinely, where they're eager for it and reaching for it, and then you provide it, you're like, yo, you want to be dominated? No fucking problem, bitch. One of the reasons
exact words.
Yeah, there's a couple different reasons they do that, I think, like biologically and psychologically and stuff. Like they're seeking things they don't have, obviously. That's why they want it. They don't go after what they already have. They go after what they don't have. But I think a big reason I've never heard anyone really talk about is what Steve, well, other than what Steve just said, he's one of the first guys I've heard say it. Women are seeking this dominance because it's a form of self-expression for them. And you have to unlock that for them. They don't do it on their own. They're not like men. Men, I think, are the flip side of this. We create our masculinity. We generate our masculinity over time. We become more masculine. We have to become a man, and it takes time. Right. It takes rites of, you know, in ancient history, you had rites of passage, even today in certain tribes and shit. And obviously throughout life, even today in America and in the West, you have all kinds of trials and tribulations growing up through high school and college, or going out in the world, getting jobs, starting businesses and shit, going fighting, you know, whatever the fuck your journey is in life as a young man in America, you have to become a man, and it takes time. It takes all kinds of trials and shit. But for women, it's not like that. It's different. You know, men and women are different, going back to the fundamentals of the red pill. And they need dominance to do that. You unlock that for them. And that might be just, you know, doing some simple stuff like, you know, just doing some stuff like Steve was just saying. It might also be much more specific, like a really dominant move. But they've never been like kind of like,
haven't been turned out, in other words, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Steve, never been turned out. Like one of the things I do with women, one of my signature moves is, I'm sure I'm not the only person to fucking do this, I'm sure. But if women have long hair, even when I meet them in a bar or a club, I'll take their long hair and I'll wrap it around their neck, and I'll start, as I'm making out with them, I'll start like kind of choking them with their own hair. And it's very obvious what I'm doing. And I'm not like choking them, but it's in a public place.
You're applying a little bit of pressure, yeah.
Yeah, but it's consistent. Like it's literally wrapped around, and it's just, and they fucking feel it. And their friends will look at me and shit, and what's going on. Other girls will fucking watch us go down. They're just like,
oh, they love it. Yeah,
they're foaming at the mouth. That anyone would do this in public while making out with someone they just met is fucking bananas. But this is something I'll do later. This is, of course, a precursor to when I bring them home, what I'll do later. But that kind of shit, I mean, if a girl's only, fucked, if she's young, she's only fucked like 9, 15, 20 dudes or something, or whatever on her Tinder cock carousel ride, most guys have not choked these girls with their own hair. Maybe they put their hand around their neck, like, oh, baby, can I put my hand around your neck? Or is I'm like, come here, bitch, and like choke them with their own hair. So it's a simple move, but it's something that, it's like a mild version of turning them out, which will be a lot more, take a couple hours and be a lot more fucking crazy.
Dude, A1, hey, this is for A1. He just said some real ass shit. A1 just clicked on something. Guys, what book out there is
boy,
the hottest selling book?
Oh boy,
based on what Anthony said.
That's that 50 Shades, bruh.
You took an introverted woman who did not know she was a whorish kind of extrovert. That's exactly A1. When he said he was choking the bitch with her hair, it made me dawn and realize that a lot of women like 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh yeah,
they come in closed-minded, but they need a dominant man. Like Anthony said, you gotta unlock that. They don't even know how to unlock it themselves because they think because the prettier she is, the more insecure she is anyway.
Of course,
or pretty enough to feel that way. But once you make her feel sexually safe and let her know it's okay to be what you want to be, it's okay to suck this dick and lick these balls and swallow this nut.
Dick on the forehead.
Put my dick on your forehead. It's okay. Anthony hit that dog. A1, man. That was real, brother.
Listen, I'll actually listen. You guys are both right, but here again, this is where I'm going to bring it back. You can take an introverted girl and turn her into that extroverted slut. But guess what? She's not going to be that extroverted slut with anybody but you because there's only room for one dominant man in her life. Okay, women want one Christian Grey because if everybody's a Christian Grey, then there are no Christian Greys. So you take that introverted girl, you turn her into that extroverted slut. What you have created is the unicorn, right? The proverbial unicorn. You want her to be a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets. Again, and here's the thing. If let's say you take an extroverted girl and you turn her out, an extroverted girl is going to be more likely to look for that in other, well, I don't know, I think introverted girls too, but extroverted girls put out that slut transponder. So you turn out an introverted girl. That may be well and good, but now it depends on you. And this is where I agree with Steve. That now it depends on you. Okay, I just turned out this introverted girl and now she's this extroverted slut. Who are you going to try? Who is less likely to go out and try to be that extroverted slut after you turned her out? The natural extrovert or the introvert that you just turned out? It's going to be that natural extrovert. Let me comment on this too. Like when we say turn these women out, I think what we're doing, that's a crude way to put it, which dick on the forehead.
Yeah, dick on the forehead. I actually slap their clit a lot with my dick. That's a fun one. But what you're doing is you're making them more feminine and more womanly is what you're doing.
Yes.
And in a very slutty way, which is what they want. The issue is if this is why women though shouldn't be out just fucking. I think women, for to be happy in their life, this is my basic, fundamental theory. It's very basic, but I think it's correct. They should have sex with as few men over a lifetime as possible, but they should have as much sex as possible with those men.
Huh.
The problem, which is the opposite. I mean, you could say men are the opposite. Just bang as many hoes as you can, right?
Sure.
That's kind of the spread the seed and all that shit. What I'm saying is, though, the minute, if you do this now and, she has a great time with you, she's submitted to you, you've been, plating her, she's a fuck buddy, or maybe it's a relationship. When you leave her life, if she leaves your life, now you've turned that out, right? You've pulled that part of her soul out and you brought it to an expression phase. Now she doesn't have the dominance in her life. What's she going to do? Well, she's not being dominated or controlled by a man that she cares about and values and respects. So she's gonna go fucking slut. This is what women do when they get divorced and shit. They go on the rebound. And they fuck. Dude, I know a girl that fucked almost 30 dudes in 30 days.
Woo!
Absolute. Wow. And admitted it too. And admitted it. She said she only blew them. I'm like, yeah, you fucked all.
Oh, come on, get out of here.
Yeah, totally. It was it's like cringe womanese. It's like it's very obvious what you're saying. But so it's just you've unlocked that. You've unleashed that. And now if they want to go fuck off and be a modern woman who's liberated, well, that's going to have consequences. Because now I've liberated you, or a man like me has liberated you. You don't know how to fucking control yourself. That's why you wanted, that's why that was unlocked through dominance. And they couldn't unlock it on their own because they don't have the self-control or self-discipline to do it. You did, and you exerted that on them when they wanted it. and I created something beautiful. She's daddy's little slut. Well, now she's going to be, you know, anybody's little slut if she walks away. So women need to get fucked all the time, but they need to get fucked by as few men as possible over a lifetime, in my opinion. And if they don't, then there's going to be consequences, and that ends up being the cat kingdom, the cheap wine,
the box wine, yeah,
you know, overeating, fucking cheap ass ice cream, getting fat, being miserable, and your whole life's a wreck.
Big thanks goes out to Rob Cruz with the $30 super chat. Says salute to the realest mofos in the game. Humble support. We appreciate that, Rob Cruz. Let me run something else by you guys. It is my assertion, and I think the reason why I'm more attracted to introverted girls than extroverted girls is because, to me, being extroverted is generally a masculine trait. I think extroverted body language too. Like if a man sits down, you know, we cross our legs, or we like to spread and take up space. Well, when females sit down, it is very ladylike and dainty to cross their legs and make themselves as small as humanly possible. What are you guys' thoughts on extroversion being more masculine and introversion being more feminine in terms of out in the public? Now, again, when you get her in bed, she can be as extroverted as she wants, right? But you want that freak in the sheets. But Steve, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, see, I'm a proponent of public displays of affection.
That makes sense.
I love when I'm walking and she'll just grab me and push my ass up against the wall in the middle of the fucking mall, start kissing me, or I like all that stuff. Okay. But as far as come to masculine, I don't really feel like it's masculine. That's just part of what her makeup. Now, again, if she's wearing jeans and she's got a 5 o'clock beard and a damn
she might be a dude.
Hey, Paulie, what's going on, Paul?
Steven,
like that silly ass shit. Then we got a problem.
Oh my God, this is great.
I want her. Listen, I want her to have fun, but a woman wants to be a woman around a real man. She doesn't want to. Like when you're a real man, she wants to be woman because she wants to show the whole world, an extrovert that is, that this is my man and you can't have him. And what's sexy to some women and to some men, some guys like when other guys look and gawk at their women. When I was gigoloing, I had a client that his woman, he would just let her walk in the mall in front of him like I don't know, 10, 15 feet or whatever, and just watch it, the men look at her, and that turned them on. So everybody's got their little kink and stuff, but for me, I don't mind her being extroverted.
That makes all the sense in the world.
When she's with a real man, her extroverting becomes like more passionate, more fun, and more playful because she's more about, like I say, public displays of affection and things like that than the introvert.
Anthony, your thoughts? That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah, in terms of masculine, feminine, and then introversion, extroversion, I'm not sure either one goes either way. Like they both apply to both sexes in different contexts. So I'm actually very introverted myself, but through the pickup artist community, through doing cold approaches,
except for these hoes.
Yeah, well, so for doing public speaking, all these things I do they're very extroverted, but these are skills that I've learned and that they didn't come naturally to me. I wasn't like that. I'm still not like that. I live alone now. I have a lot of people over for work and, friends and shit, but on a day-to-day basis, I live alone. When I go out to a bar, oftentimes I go out solo. I joke that I'm a shark just hunting, and that's all I'll do. I'll just hunt for the hottest girl in the club, the hottest like 2 or 3, and then I'll pick one and go for that. And then go after, if that doesn't work out, go after the next one. I'm like, it's for me, it's a challenge. Like I treat pickup like the Olympics, right? I'm like, how can I get the hottest fucking girl and do the craziest shit tonight? Like even the Tinder girls, I try to go. I got the sub. I've had like 4 or 5 now sub 10-minute lays.
The whole Olympics.
The whole Olympics, yeah, exactly. It's awesome. The dream Olympics, right? But so, and for women too, I don't know, introvert, extrovert. That's kind of an odd question. I feel. Well, in terms of just
go ahead. Here's what I'm going to say. Check this out. I think, and Steve actually made me think of this. I think as men, depending upon what our goals are for that day, we like a challenge. Okay. Extroverted girls, to me, they're much more of a challenge. And when you make a girl who is outgoing and extroverted and all this other kind of stuff, when you make her submit to your will, to me, that is much more gratifying than doing it with an introverted girl, because an introverted girl is almost already there, right? She's introverted. She's already submissive.
Well,
to me, go ahead.
Here's what I'm getting at too. Like, look at men, for example. You have introverts. You know, men have dominated the STEM field for a long time, and they should. There's different biological and reasons with how the male brain works that we dominate in science, technology, engineering, and math and stuff like that. Women don't. Women dominate in social fields, professions, right? Maybe like it's a receptionist, maybe she's a waitress, maybe she's a model, this, whatever the fuck, right? Women are much more social in terms of if you view extroversion and you're looking at it in that simplistic kind of way. But then you have like alpha males, right? You have the Dan Bilzerians, you have the Cobra Tates, you have all these dudes doing all this wild ass shit. So there's like a spectrum, obviously, of masculinity. There's a spectrum of beta to alpha behavior cues, right? Then you have personality types. Then you have like differences in the brain between literally like the neurobiology of men and women. That's why when you say like, masculinity and femininity and then extroversion, introversion, to me, that's like a really complex question that I feel, I don't know if we can answer it on, in my opinion.
No, I don't think so either. I just kind of threw it out there. Yeah. Steve, what are your thoughts? Because I think I already know what your answer is. I think for you, it is much more gratifying to make an outgoing extroverted woman submit. Am I wrong?
Yeah, well, that's the thrill of the hunt, man.
There you go. Okay.
It's like when you go fishing, you go out there to capture it, and then when you know you got it, you just throw that shit back in the water.
Right.
It's just an exhilarating feeling to take something that has been quote unquote in the wild, so to speak, get it, train it, and just send his ass back out to find someone else. Yeah, the introverted ones, they're easy because they're shy and quiet and they're just kind of to themselves, which is fine. I always love to challenge myself because you never know what you're going to run into. So that's why I used to talk to all women.
Right.
I never stop because everybody's different. So like I say, the warrior must always be prepared and you never know what you're going to walk into. But when you are prepared for an extrovert and you know how she is and you know that it's good, like I say, I'm not the best fisher. I used to do that shit when I was little.
Hey, but you still got your rod and reel, bro. Like, don't get it twisted.
Yeah, but the thing about that, what a lot of guys don't know, it's not like on cartoons and TV that you can just throw that shit in there and then yank that motherfucking fish out. No, it's time. You got to release the tension in the rope. And you got to let it go out a little bit. Then you got to reel it back in. So it's kind of like a cat and mouse game with the extroverted. But again, only a man could do that because a man knows, hey, you know what? I'll let that bitch marinate. I'm not running behind her like that.
Right.
But if she want to reel her ass back in, she can come back home.
Excellent. Shout out to Hernan Mayorga with the $1 super chat, says, keep up the good work, gentlemen. I'll wrap up this discussion with this. I'd actually like to get your personal preference, and why. For me, as far as introvert versus extroverts, I like extroverted women for one night stands. I like extroverted women for fuck buddy arrangements. I like extroverted women for friends with benefit arrangements. Again, to me, it is much more gratifying to make a woman like that submit. But for relationships, I like that introversion. And the reason for that is because I want, and with every relationship, there's going to come a risk. But the more skin you have in the game, the more you have at risk. We all know this. This is basic math. If I'm going to have that much skin in the game, me personally, I want my risk to be mitigated as much as possible. And Steve, I know we've heard this a lot. A lot of black women are just they're masculinely extroverted like a motherfucker, right? And what's the thing they always say to guys like us? You can't handle a strong black woman. Well, my answer to that is, you know what? I can handle a strong black woman, but I'm sure you can handle a bratty kid. That doesn't mean you want to either. So while I believe it is very important, just like Steve said, to keep that sword sharp, okay? To me, it's equally important to make sure that the woman you decide to take on as a long-term partner, for me, this is just my preference. To me, she's got to be introverted. Introverted girls are much less of a risk. They might not be. Listen, introverted girls are not as much fun. They're really not. But for me personally, as far as relationships are concerned, I want there to be as little risk as possible. Anthony, what is your preference as far as introverts, extroverts, and why?
Yeah, so at 30 years old, I'm coming up on 31 here in a few months.
Old man.
Yeah, I'm feeling
He's
it.
going to be our age, Steve.
I know, man.
So my most honest and first thought is I'm still exploring and figuring this stuff out for myself. And I can tell you right now, it's never occurred to me to really care about these kind of things.
Right.
Not that it's unimportant in general. It's just for me personally with how I interact with women, pulling them home, Tinder stuff, bar stuff, social circle stuff, whatever the fuck. I'm just doing what I do. I'm exploring, I'm learning, I'm experimenting. I'm, testing out different flavors of women, black women, Spanish women, Colombian women, white women, a couple Asian women.
31 flavors,
here
brother.
Yeah. And personality types too, right? Ages, differences, all kinds of stuff. Everyone knows I'm a fan of, sugar babies or salt babies, as I call them.
Salt daddies.
Single mom cheeseburgers. Love me some single moms. Just being real. Just being real, man. I have friends that are with single moms too, and I have nothing against them. I love banging them because they're super perverted.
Hell yeah, and they're easy.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, all women are easy at the end of the day if you know what buttons to push. But the single moms, though, in particular, seem to have like a lot of pregnancy fantasies and stuff, and they're just really perverted and shit, which is fun to fuck with. But yeah, I'm just learning and experimenting, and also too, like kind of what Cobra Tate talks about. If your frame is strong enough, you can mold a woman how you see, almost any woman how you see fit. She has to genuinely submit to it. You can't force it. You don't want to force it. That's the opposite of submission, like real submission. And when I say that too, like molding her personality and shaping it and stuff. She'll do it for you. That's the point, because she wants to do it. That doesn't mean she becomes a clone of you. Like, I'm introverted, so when I say that, I don't expect her to become exactly like me. That's stupid. I don't want Anthony Dream Johnson with boobs, like, looking across the, whatever, right?
Anthony, hold on. Let me cut you off real quick. Listen, that's it. You solved the riddle. For me, every relationship has to have polarity. Maybe that's why maybe that's why I'm more attracted to introverted girls for a long-term relationship than extroverts. I mean, obviously you would be, I guess, somewhere on the other side of that pole.
Yeah. Well, for me too, it comes down to concessions. Like I talked about at the opening of the show, like she wants to give up serious major things for you. Without becoming, you don't want her to be a zombie clone of you. That's really stupid in several different ways and unhealthy. But you want it, and she wants you to give up, or she wants to give up herself. Big components of what she does, her behavior, maybe goals she has. She wants to serve you, and she wants to submit to you. And you have to make the door. You have to create the door for that to happen, and then open the door and be like, "Come on in, bitch, make me a sandwich." So and make babies and cookies. I joke about that on Twitter all the time. Women love that, the babies and cookies. But yes, that's my spiel on it. I think I've answered.
Okay, yeah. What about you, Steve? Do you prefer, like, what type of girl do you prefer, introvert or extrovert, for what situation?
Well, I like sexy, first off, but
I don't give a damn if you introvert or extrovert, unless you extrovert when you're giving up that ass.
Well, like I said, when I met my wife, like I say, the first thing she did when we went out, she handed me her wallet and said, "Get what we need." That was the beginning of, say, okay. She goes out, she used to go out a little bit, but she's more like from the 1800s, like a Quaker. She doesn't YouTube or Facebook. She doesn't have a Twitter account. All she does is puzzles, watch the Food Network.
Yeah, wife stuff.
Yeah, and take care of the family. And she knows that I'm the extroverted asshole that's out there. And that's how we work. But as far as like when I was out there, like if I was lucky to be Anthony, who's free to do whatever, it's like you say, she could be from Afghanistan, Pakistan, Russia, India, Japan, Hong Kong. I don't care. I'm dipping my foot in all the flavors. I'm having all the fun, the single moms, all that. And I just want to say, for those motherfuckers that always bitch about single moms out there, you know who you are. Shut the fuck up, because it's not about the fuck. Make it about the single mom and stop making it about the goddamn kids. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go on my tyrant. But no, to get back to what I'm saying is that it's what you want as a man, number one. But let me tell you something, man. Like I was telling you before, when you unlock an introvert to sex in the world out there, in the
that's a wrap.
The freak comes out of her because it's an awakening for a woman. You know how these women want all these goddamn awakening type moments. But she didn't know she could suck a dick. You know what I mean? She never thought of in her mind that, damn,
for them, it's a spiritual awakening, man. If you get a girl to really submit to you and just go fucking wild and
they love it.
She's been jerking off to that moment for like a decade or more by the time that happens, right? 50 Shades of Grey, all kinds of stuff. She's been fantasizing and fucking salivating about it. And then when you fucking do that, when you throw her across the bed, when you push her face in the fucking pillow and say fucking who's your fucking daddy bitch or whatever, that's a huge moment for them. It's spiritual. It's real. Like for them, think about all the woo-woo shit girls are into. It's astrology and numerology.
Oh God, yeah. Horoscopes and all that.
When you combine, that's the kind of, what they think about when they're into. When you then combine that, when you're deep inside of them, when they're about to they're at risk of getting pregnant or something at any moment, if you bust in them, if you're fucking all the aggression and shit, but it's coming from a good place, it's benevolent. Or maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know where it's coming from, and they're like, "Holy fuck, what's going on?" Like this is really exciting for them. They love riding the roller coaster, right? That has like no safety net, or maybe it has a safety net, but they don't really know.
Right. So what I just want to say to wrap my thing up is this: at the end of the day, it's not about intro or extra. It's about what she brings to my table. You know what I mean? Because the thing with me and my boys right now is that they got all their bitches buying them flat screen TVs in their houses, and stuff like that. They'll go shopping, grocery shop for them. So when he comes over to her house, which is technically his house now, she has all the amenities set up for him just to keep him pleased, and has his drink comes in and stuff. So, once you get to a certain level, it's not about the fucking, because when you get so much pussy, you like,
I agree.
Yeah, you like, all right, all right, we can fuck, okay.
But standard, right? What else can you do?
What are you bringing to the table now other than
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, well, let's move to the. that was a good discussion. I like it better when we disagree on stuff, because I think we all learn more, and I think our audience learns more. Okay, so the second sacrifice that men have to make, in my opinion, I believe it is age. Let me explain what I mean here. The ideal woman that every man wants is that 20-year-old virgin, right? The red pill approved female, the red pill approved wife is a female who's in her sexual prime, meaning between the ages of 18 and 26. The disadvantage here is that in today's sexual marketplace, good-looking women in that age range, and we'll get to SMV, sexual market value, here in a little bit, but good-looking girls in that age range, they're not interested in settling down because they're always getting offers. They get offers on dating apps. They get offers at work when they walk around. Everywhere they go, men are throwing themselves at her because she is young and beautiful. In 2019, and I want to get you guys' take on this, because in 2019, if you're a man who is in a long-term relationship with a beautiful 22-year-old girl, the end of that relationship, that's inevitable. It is a mathematical certainty that you will not be her last boyfriend, let alone the last person to have sex with her. That said, it is my opinion that the sacrifice men need to make as far as age is concerned, and this is strictly for relationships, I'm not talking about fuck buddies, one-night stands, I'm talking about for relationships, is in 2019, unfortunately, she can't be in her sexual prime. And I know that that's what we want ideally, but in this day and age, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, a girl in her sexual prime is always going to be looking for an upgrade simply because of the availability of men thanks to the internet. Even if you're the very best she can do, okay? She doesn't know that. And she'll never really be all in with you until she hits her 30s, when she is past the wall. So if you're looking for a woman who is actually ready to settle down in a long-term relationship, to me, you're looking for a woman who is age maybe 28 through maybe 35 or 36. Any older than that, you're really taking a chance as far as looks are concerned. Any younger than that, she's not going to be quite ready. And again, I know a lot of you guys will say, fuck that, she's past the wall, Donovan, and you would be right. But I'll give you a personal example. Devin was past the wall when I met her. And because of that, she was much more open to doing what was necessary to secure my commitment. And I've got this game and all this other kind of stuff in Donovan's property. But guys, had I met Devin when she was 22, I would not be with her today. Of that, I am certain. Anthony, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I disagree. I mean, I'm following what you're saying. Like, it's making sense. So I don't disagree with the logic presented. I mean, for me, it comes down to it's a frame game at the end of the day. Like and that comes down to then SMV, that comes down to game, that comes down to genetic factors, your situation economically, financially, career-wise, the age difference, how old are you? Yep. Are you 37 looking for a 30-year-old or
there we go.
37 looking for a 21-year-old? So I'm 30 now, I'm almost 31. Recently, I've had this 22-year-old thrown herself at me. Hot as fuck too, like hot as a dime, like easily top 10 chick I've ever fucked, and making me cookies constantly, hitting it raw. Dude, I fed her, dude, she ate a Plan B right in front of me, hit that shit raw all weekend. It was fucking dope. It's dangerous, right? And I'm not recommending everyone do that, but I had a good time. So does she.
Of course.
She'll give me the world. Well, and of course, eventually she started talking about relationship. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not, surprised.
Oh, so you're the one. You're the hot 22-year-old, right?
Well, I'm 30. Yeah, exactly. So, but it's frame, right? She could be out going on more on Tinder and Bumble, going to bars, getting fucked. But if I'm hitting all the right buttons, it's like Sock says, nature's going to win. And that's nature winning. If she's being fulfilled with these things, that's what she's going after. She came after me fucking hardcore.
Right.
Maybe she's cluster B. Who knows? I don't think so, actually, but whatever.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter whether she's cluster B or not. I agree with you. It's a frame game. It doesn't matter if she's cluster B, BPD. If you got frame, women are going to follow if you're dominant enough.
This is why, Cobra Tate is such an extreme version of like an alpha male in our men's community in the manosphere. But he says it right. Like if you have the frame and if you have the game, if you have that power and she submits to it, you could turn around, you can do whatever you want. She'll give you her soul. I tell women this all the time before I meet them over text. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to steal your soul out of your pussy, bitch. I'm going to suck it right out of your tits. And they're like, ha, 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 da, 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 da. And then I fucking do, right? Or they're reminded. For me, it's foreshadowing too, right? So in the text, I'm fucking with them. I'm teasing them.
Yeah, right. Like shit's about to get rough. You're going to have marks in the morning. Yep.
But then they do. So it ends up being congruent. It's got to be congruent. If it ends up falling apart, which has happened for me, then it sucks. It blows up in your face. But if you actually pull that shit off, then you can mold her to what you want. It's frame game. There was actually a YouTuber who was great on this Frame Game Radio. It wasn't intersexual dynamics focused so much, but it's all frame, man. It's frame at the end of the day.
Okay.
And if she in your frame, she'll the factors, the age, the SMV, hypergamy, playing itself out over time at different stages of her life. These are all important variables and factors. But at the end of the day, it comes down to her brain submitting to your brain, her frame submitting to your frame. Like Steve says, last name, she's going after your name. How bad does she want it? How bad can you make her want it? Because your shit is so tight. You are so focused and on mission. Your game is fucking tight. Your soul is fucking on point. You're doing what the fuck you want to do. If she feels that shit, she'll give you the world, is what I've seen.
Okay. So this 22-year-old girl, you said she wants to be in a relationship with you. Like she's trying.
Yeah, I mean, all these girls that
bang,
all right. This kind of shit.
Okay, very good. Steve, what say you, man? Oh, yeah, Anthony, go ahead.
I was gonna say it was just interesting because I'm usually banging girls who are like 24, 25, 28, shit like that, and then occasionally in their 30s, and then occasionally like a 19, 20-year-old. But 22, it was interesting because she's like right at her peak SMV. Yep. And I'm 8 years older, so that's excellent. That's an excellent age advantage. I mean, I considered it. Like I'm not totally opposed to that, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, nah. Like I'm just not feeling it with this chick emotionally. So I'm like, yeah, no. It was very simple for me. And rant.
All right, Steve, what you got, man?
Well, I'm gonna go on side with Anthony on this one as well, because one thing I noticed is that I'm not looking for her age, more or less. I just know what I want. I know what I'm looking for. I know what is going to please me, and whether she's 40, 38. Now, again, I'm just saying just a smash. I'm talking about fuck me, just someone I'm smash. I ain't someone,
right.
So. And of course she's got to be legal. She's got to be
stupid, of course, yes.
To make sure out there, because I don't want no guys to be like, "Hey, Steve told me to mess with this 15-year-old girl." No, she got to be legal. No,
breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news. But what I'm saying is, I don't look at the age. To me, it's the character and it's the submission. Or are you going to follow my lead? You know what I mean? And I don't care how old you are, because I truly believe that when a woman gets around a real man, keyword real man, she has no choice but to take the knee and kiss the ring, because she has no other option. She doesn't have the option of wiggle room of running him and doing things. So I don't look at the age, man. I look at what pleases me. I say to myself, okay, what do I want today? What am I looking for today? And I will meet that person. And like Anthony said, he gives him the warning about sucking the titty out the soul. I think it was Anthony. I always give him the warning of, you might want to leave now. You don't want to fuck with a guy like me, because after I'm done with you, you're going to be hooked on me like a goddamn drug. So
yeah, exactly.
Right. You don't want to be with a guy like me, because I'm going to tell you right now, I ain't shit. I'm letting you know I ain't shit. So I'm telling you, you're not going to be the only one. Don't think you're going to be the only one. I'm going to be fucking and seeing other women, and that's the truth. And either you're going to accept it or not. And again, Donovan, that may mention her age. I I don't care what her age is. But you know what they'll do? When they hear real, like I told you, transparent, clear and concise, and impactful words, they will notice, okay, you know what? Well, I don't like it, but they'll fucking do it though.
I want to add this too, that I was at Socrates' birthday party last week. It was at his house here in Orlando. We had a couple guys, everybody over and shit. And his 3.5-year-old or whatever, his daughter, Elizabeth Grace, is running around. And it was just fascinating to watch her behavior. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. You've met her, right, Donovan?
Oh, yeah. She's cute as a button. Got the big pink, rosy red cheeks.
Yep. So I was watching her, run around the house. She was throwing the football around us. Me and my director were there and shit like that. And just playing. She's a beautiful little girl, but being very feminine, being a young girl. And it was interesting to watch because in particular, I noticed, I was like, what is this girl doing? Let me kind of watch her behavior. What she was doing is chasing the most exciting and dangerous stuff she could find, right?
Right.
Whether that was daddy, Socrates, or me, or, the mom, or whatever, the tricycle, riding the bike, or doing, just doing like the wildest shit she could, having fun. She was just, having fun, and she was chasing the most dangerous, exciting shit she could for a 3-year-old at that time. And I'm like, wow, women never change. This is literally what she'll do at, for better or for worse, hopefully for better, when she's 33 instead of 3, she'll do the same thing. And that's healthy for women to pursue. This isn't even a criticism. It's an observation. It's an important. So it just comes to mind that, with all these things, how do you get framed? Why does a woman submit to your frame? Well, you're tapping into the different emotional experiences she's feeling. And one of them is, playing games. Women love playing games. And if you play the best games and you're the best at playing them and you make all the rules and you have this game you've made for her in the bedroom or whatever, is super fucking exciting and super dangerous or feels dangerous, then you win. That's how you win these things. You win the frame game. And then that goes beyond the bedroom too, into the whole life like Steve was talking about.
Right.
So real quick, I just want to piggyback off Anthony's piggyback. What he just said is 100. So many guys are trying to worry about the chess pieces instead of being the chess board. The chess board is
that makes sense.
And that's what Anthony was saying was A1. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
No, you're right. No, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm going to push back on both of you. To me, as far as long-term relationships are concerned, age absolutely matters. And again, there are exceptions to every rule, and this is what we teach men to be. And the thing is we teach men to be the outliers. If you want to be the regular old plain Joe whatever and drive a Toyota Camry and make $40,000 a year and a 401k and all that secure stuff and be safe, you're watching the wrong show. We teach men to be the outliers, and if you're an outlier, you are going to attract outlier type women. Read women who are young and hot, who want to be in a long-term relationship with you, want to make babies and cookies. But to me, it's about playing the odds. Simply put, a 22-year-old is going to have more options than a 32-year-old. She can, and here's what it comes down to. You've got to have the frame. You can listen, it's my way or the highway. She can accept it or not. I totally agree. And more times than not, she is going to accept it because you are who you are. But the 22-year-old is going to, she's going to choose to taste the highway a little bit. Eventually she'll come back because there are not many men like us out there, but she's going to go out there and she's going to choose that a few more times than maybe the 32-year-old would. Again, the reason she can do this is because she has other options. Again, it's playing the odds. The younger the woman, the harder it is, simply because, regardless of how high your game is. Now, you're only going to be one of a very few men that she's going to come back to on the regular. And when she has those options like that, she is going to attract more men. She's going to attract beta males. Guess what? She's going to attract other guys who have the game in the frame as well. We said it earlier in the show. Women can be trusted to be women. The more the younger a woman is, the more options she has. So even if you have A+ game, she's going to submit to your frame when she's with you, right? But strictly within the bounds of a long-term relationship, this is strictly age speaking with LTRs, is the younger the woman, the harder it's going to be. And I think what's happening here is, I know that you can never play the relationship game on easy mode, right? For me, I want it to be a little bit easier. I've done all the hard stuff. Like I've paid my dues. And I think the reason for this is maybe I know that women are not really as necessary for my happiness. So I want the least amount of trouble out of them as humanly possible. But to me, age absolutely does matter when it comes to selecting a woman, or not really selecting, they really have to pick you. But younger women, they're going to be less likely to how can I put this? To me, younger women are a much higher risk. Younger women can make great mates, but again, we're talking about risk. I think the older the woman, the lesser the risk.
Well,
I want
to comment on this. So I don't disagree, and this is consistent in my opinion with what I was talking about earlier. But we don't agree completely. Like, age is important, and I don't think I said it was unimportant. If I did, I misspoke.
No,
I don't think I did. Age is a factor. It's a major factor. I agree. Not only the age in itself in isolation, but also her age in relation to you. Are you her age? Are you 1 year younger? Are you 1 year older? Are you 5 years older?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Older? And there's stats. So it's a major factor that plays out in statistics in real life, because you have to look at it generalized across an entire population. Then you can watch that play out in studies by governments and institutions and whatever. And they show.
That's one thing I left out. You're making a very good point, because it really depends on because you obviously have much different goals than I do. We're a decade apart in terms of age. So
yeah. And
that makes sense.
It's individualized too to the woman. Like, a woman might be 22, but she's an ugly duckling. She doesn't know how to dress, doesn't know how to do makeup. She's 37 pounds overweight. And guess what? Maybe at age 29, just before she hits the wall for whatever reasons, she fixes that shit. She starts reading information about how to look better. She finds like a paleo diet or something and loses like all that weight. All of a sudden, her SMV is like significantly higher at 29 than it was at 22, because she's not pimply and fat and gross and shit, and she's put together. Her SMV now is actually, and a lot of women, I don't know how many, but there's plenty of women who do this. They turn shit around, and I think there needs to be a lot more, make women great again. But yeah, there's all kinds of factors to play out over time. People commented, with my Medusa thing. The Medusa was older than me by quite a bit, and she was, and that's a big fucking dumb fuck problem on its own, right? Or it was. Yeah. A mistake. But she was, dude, I've seen pictures of her back, when we were together. When she was like in her early 20s, she was not put together. She grew up kind of an ugly duckling. When I was with her, I had a great time. Plastic makes perfect. She was much hotter at that early 30s and early 20s. That's unusual, and you can't use that as an argument in totality. But it's an experience or it's a real life example of like how some of the stuff plays out in real life. Yeah, human life for men and women is complex. If you don't get hit by a bus and you live life over a long period of time, and you make it to your 30s and 40s, people do all sorts of fucking wild ass shit. Yeah, a lot of it ends up being self-destructive, particularly for women, but some of it's not. And then men too, maybe they fuck up their 20s. There's a fuck up. They go to prison. They do drugs and shit. But in the 30s, sometimes they clean it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Just something real quick on what Anthony was saying. For me, I think age is when it comes to having children, because some guys, it's not good to have children.
Yes.
38, 39, 40 years old. So if you want to start a legacy, you want to at least have somebody whose body is intact that can give you healthy children, opposed to maybe children with disabilities and stuff as she gets older. I mean, I'm not saying that it can't happen when she's younger, but you want fertile. You know what I mean? You want someone. Oh, yeah. So that does play a part as well, guys.
Yep. 35 is the advanced maternity age, according to modern medicine, and what's actually practiced by doctors and stuff.
I need to preface this. This is exactly why this is an important conversation. I literally just realized, as smart as I am, like all of the anecdotes, all of my reasoning are specific to me. All right, give me a second. Phone lines are obviously open. All right, very good. So, all right. Can you guys hear me? Is there any feedback?
No, you're fine.
Okay, very good. Excellent. So the phone lines are open, 914-205-5356. I literally just realized that I'm giving this from my perspective. I'm 41. I'm going to be 42 years old in August. I don't want kids. I have no interest in kids. So, of course, age is good. Like, of course, and because I don't want a legacy, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm willing to sacrifice a few years in terms of sexual market value and peak fertility for a little less risk because I don't want kids. But you guys hit the nail on the head. If you really want to pass on your legacy, then yeah, age is absolutely a factor. For me, I'm not willing to take the risk of a younger, hotter girl because to me, it's not worth it. I don't want any kids of it. So why am I going to take that risk? But for men who want to pass on their legacy, that is a very strong biological connection. And if passing on your legacy means taking on a bit more risk, I think the both of you, and I think I can speak for the both of you, I think that you guys would probably admit that that's a risk worth taking. Am I wrong?
That's the better option. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't mean I'm going to do it, but it means I'll probably do it for sure. Because it's a big factor.
That makes all the sense in the world. I had not even thought about that.
Donovan, real quick before you go to the phones, I just wanted to say something. Somebody has said something in the chat room that, again, this is where you don't understand. See, the thing about women, and I'm not calling it women behavior, is y'all always are making excuses and being a victim towards things. This works what we're talking about. See, a man works through everything. A man works through the winter, spring, summer, fall. It could be Mars, the moon, and Jupiter. When you sit and begin to make excuses of, well, it works in America, but it doesn't work over here, then I need you to let me know why my boys are flying from America to Europe, smashing women just like they doing in America. See,
I did fine in Poland, man. I fucked like this famous little singer over there and shit. I was having a great time. The women there are beautiful too.
There you go. Yeah.
Donovan, I want to hit this little super chat on 21 Studios.
Yeah, I actually see it here. Penny Ostricher, $1.99 super chat. You want to read that question?
Go ahead, Donovan. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Penny, I can't pronounce the name. It looks like Ostricher says, "Who is a regular woman BPD NPD?" Essentially all I'm learning from the red pill info out there is that women will respond to beta behavior very similar to NPD behavior. TMF, can you clarify?
Yeah, I don't even know what TMF means.
Penny, if you could put in there what TMF means, I don't really know.
It's some sort of internet lingo. Like, I don't, it's probably
I don't speak millennialese.
Yeah, it's not. What is it? SMH shaking my head. It's something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm following your question or. I mean, I'm reading it as it is.
Women with BPD.
Women respond to beta behavior. I mean, women love. AJ Cortez has said, one of our speakers, and he's been on the Redman Group a couple times. I think he's right that male narcissism exhibited, properly or even improperly, is like the mirror to female solipsism. And women are very attracted to it. They're very attracted to arrogant, overtly narcissistic, braggadocious to an extent, bragging behavior, all kinds of just ridiculous, over-the-top shit that a lot of people will assume is like NPD. Even the way I post on Twitter sometimes.
Because I'm not really with all of that stuff.
Oh, that's a cluster B disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, formerly known in the 90s as and before megalomania, or like a megalomaniac, if you heard that term.
Grandeur. I think a lot of people are probably describe Cobra Tate like this.
Yeah, totally. But he's not NPD. He's just, and Ivan Throne talks about narcissism too in the 9 Laws in his work. And it's not, there's healthy levels of narcissism. It's fun. Like people accuse Donald Trump, our president, of being, NPD all the time. He's not. But he exhibits and communicates in a way though that people, they over assume that he's like that. And they're 99% of them are not fucking psychologists anyway. They're just mouthing off Wikipedia articles and shit they read off Google. But it's the same thing with me now. People accuse me of being NPD or BPD and all this shit. No, I strategically talk in a way that I think is useful and productive for my life and rational. I don't give a shit if you're going to over assume or diagnose me because you're Dr. Twitter about, what the fuck I have as a personality disorder. You can go fuck yourself. Not you, Donovan, but these people.
Gotcha.
But yeah, in terms of women responding to beta behavior versus NPD behavior, I mean, you can be a codependent narcissist. That might be what she's referring to, but she's not. The commenter, the super chat person, is not very specific. But if it's not codependent narcissism, if it's just more like Cobra Tate style narcissism, look at my fucking car, bitch. Get on the fucking camera or whatever he's dealing with him.
Yep.
Or like me, make me some fucking cookies, bitch. Yeah, this is, people would assume this is narcissistic behavior. They assume it's abusive. It's not. This is what women are deeply attracted to, for better and for worse, man. Because look, if a dude actually has NPD or some serious trauma that is causing the behavior, and his behavior like this is not on purpose, like it is for me and many others in the manosphere. A lot of red pill teachings would be viewed in mainstream psychology as like rampant narcissism. Well, as a symptom, it is. The behaviors are the same. The source, though, is different. We're training and we're learning his behaviors on purpose because guess what? In terms of evolution and biology, this is what women actually respond to. This is what they actually fucking want. Yes. They want you to talk shit. They want you to choke them out. They want to love you. They want to submit to you. They want to do all these things. They want to give you their fucking soul. And they want you to fucking take it when they give it to you. Fucking give me that shit, bitch. Yeah. So yeah, this NPD shit, the BPD shit.
To what you just said, Anthony, I think that men who exhibit it, whether it's who they are or not, and men with NPD, they get better treatment from women than men who are not. Right? Yeah. We talk about dark triad. We talk about mentally deranged, mentally complex, mentally fucked up men do far better with women than men who are mentally stable, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think one of the reasons Devin is attracted to me is because I'm a volatile fuck, man. Like, I mean,
totally.
You know what I mean?
Rage mode Donovan when he's not on modern, YouTube 2019. Just fucking.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, man. It's like dude, I wake up some days and like the slightest thing could set me off. No, Devin doesn't like when I get all stupid, but she likes that unpredictability. She likes the fact that I keep her on her toes. And I don't do that on purpose. It's just.
Well, here's another head trip. She likes when you do things to an extent that she doesn't like. You do these things anyway. She doesn't like them. And guess what? You keep doing them anyway.
That's right.
Now, there's a limit to how far you can push this. It's within reason, but you're doing it. And it's the negative emotions are fine that she feels for you. That's part of being in a healthy relationship.
That's the feels. Women, listen, women, and we'll get to the area code 951, you're next, 289, you're next. I'll submit this to you, Anthony. Women would rather be, women want to be on that roller coaster ride.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Women don't want to ride the teacups at Disney World. No, they want to ride the Screaming Eagle roller coaster at Six Flags. They want to be scared. They want to be happy. They want to be elated. They want to be afraid. They want that adrenaline rush. This is why women who are in abusive relationships stick around. Not to say that women like getting their ass beat. And by the way, disclaimer, no, I am not recommending that you hit women. Hitting women is wrong. But this is why women respond more positively to physically behavior.
Women go back to men who beat them all the time. Like, it's crazy. They'll blame it all on the dude. It's like, no, this is what women want. And that's what this woman is responding to in her actions. Her words don't mean shit. Dude, this is what she's doing.
Good stuff. Let's go to the phone lines. That's a good discussion. Area code 951. You are on with the Redman Group. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. This is JC.
Hey, JC. What's up, brother?
You can hear me okay? I'm driving the truck.
Nope, we got you, man. Loud and clear.
Yeah. All right, cool. I just wanted to go back to what you were talking about a few minutes ago with age, maybe the best age for an LTR. And we know that the more men a woman sleeps with, the less likely she is to be able to successfully maintain a relationship long term. So even though a 22-year-old would have more options than a 32-year-old, I think if we're playing the dating game, I'd rather take a woman who has
a little more tread on her tires, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm with you.
I mean, well, just the show you're doing yesterday with that chick who's had hundreds of dudes.
Oh God.
I mean, the difference between 22 and 32. I mean, how many hundreds more guys has she been doing in that time period? So she may have more options at 22, but if I can, be the best option or the best option she perceives, then I might have a better chance than a 32-year-old who's been around there. And quite frankly, I don't want to be coming after 100 different dicks. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah. Well, so I want to follow up on his comment here. I appreciate the caller. This is why women behaving this way at scale in America and in the Western culture right now is a serious problem, because they're doing permanent catastrophic damage to themselves over time.
Right.
You can't undo getting dicked by 100 dicks and getting your heart broken 87 times out of 100 times you've been fucking around on Tinder and bars and all this shit. These women are train wrecks and they can't fix it.
And they can't do it.
They won't even. And now maybe a few of them will. Sure, that's statistically that's going to happen. I wish the best for them. They need the help. Make women great again. But more importantly, they need to not do this fucking damage. That's why I said earlier in the show, women need to fuck as much as they can over a lifetime and get fucking railed with as few men as possible. Maybe it's not one, maybe it's not some fucking fairy tale, but like the single digits, seriously. And if you don't, you're going to end up fucking miserable and lonely. All the bullshit about the lonely old man, stuff that's going to happen to the men, who are man children, all this bullshit. It's bullshit. That doesn't happen to men. That happens to women. And they end up spinster cat ladies that are fucking miserable. They're drinking themselves to death. There's all kinds of stats coming out on this. They're popping all kinds of pills, antidepressants, all kinds of bullshit.
All that.
Yeah, not to mention, that's just illegal stuff. Never mentioning the illicit stuff, or they're using prescription drugs and without a doctor's consent and stuff. It's a fucking shit show, man. It's not just a huge problem. It's one thing for us to look at it individually in terms of advice for a man or for the men watching this, but even socially and culturally, like, this is a huge systemic problem that's about to blow up in all of our faces with millennial women. Like, this is
I agree with.
Yeah, this is a big problem.
Steve, what you got on this, man? You said
caller, I want to say a not true statement what you said, because don't assume just because she's young doesn't mean she's not fucking like these older women out there. No. You got to understand, the younger she is, who you think she's getting hit on or fucked by, these older 50-year-old corporate guys that are coming down and smashing these women. And look at the Instagrams, the Instagram models, and all these young girls out there. All these videos showing their body. Yeah, don't think she's not started sucking dick at 15 and 16, doing all this nasty stuff. And when she gets at 22, don't think that they're at their peak. Think of how many girls have been locked up by daddy that, you can't go out, you can't do this. And then when they get to college, they act wild and crazy and all that other stuff where they're sucking several dicks, orgies, swinging, threesomes. So don't assume just because she's 22 doesn't mean she ain't fucking like maybe a 30. The women today are it's a whole different ball game. It's not about being ashamed of having sex and all that other stuff. These women are using their bodies to get what they want. They're using their bodies to make money, but they also are getting, like Anthony said, getting railed and prodded a lot, especially when they get out the house, man. So don't.
Yeah, listen, I agree. I agree with Steve, and it's weird because it's almost, I don't want to call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it's very cyclical, right? So mathematically speaking, the longer someone has been around, the more of something they have experienced. Let's just take something very simple. Having been around for a 32-year-old person has eaten more food than a 22-year-old person by virtue of having been around for a decade longer. Well, the same thing with sex. You would assume that a 32-year-old woman has had more sex than a 22-year-old woman. Okay, maybe. But here's the thing. 32-year-old woman doesn't really have quite as many options. The 22-year-old woman has options all day long. And if we know anything about women, Anthony, you said it right at the top of the broadcast, you trust women to be women. You cannot trust a woman not to be impulsive. If a 22-year-old girl is getting dick thrown at her all day long, guess what she's going to do? She's not going to just say no to dick. She's going to ride that carousel until she can't ride it anymore. So I agree with that 100%.
Donovan, let me play some devil's advocate here. Okay. I think we're seeing social media. So 20 years ago, it would have been absolutely, crystal clear true that a woman at 22 is going to have more SMV and therefore sexual options than a woman at 32 who's a little bit a couple years post-wall at that point. The issue I think now is that we're seeing, social media, particularly Instagram and then stuff like Tinder and Facebook and whatever. Women are getting such a crazy amount of attention from men. Most of them are beta, whatever. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, though, male attention is male attention.
Right. Yeah, it's all the same.
They value it differently, but it's still male attention, right? So they're getting such a woman now will post a photo of herself at the beach, right, in a bikini. She'll get an average girl will get 200, 500, 800, 1,000, or some crazy amount of likes within like a day or two. This amount, and then the DMs, the dick pic, all the shit going in her inbox. She is flooded with male attention, even at 32 years old, especially if she, fixed herself up. She keeps herself together. Maybe she got a pair of fake tits at, age 30 when she hit the wall. Very common. I know because I'm watching for it on Instagram. I watch them. And I slide in the DMs.
Listen,
so this is changing the environment, though, that I'm saying, in an unprecedented way in human history. Women at 32 can still get a ridiculous amount, more than a woman 20 years ago could have gotten into at 22. That's what's flipping shit on its head that we've never seen before.
I'll put it to you this way, Anthony. I'm going to use an analogy. Attention is attention no matter what. A 22-year-old could get $1's worth of attention from one person, right? A 32-year-old could get a penny's worth of attention from 100 men. Guess what? It's all the same as far as she's concerned. She still made $1. It doesn't. It takes her a little. Listen, it takes her a little less. It takes her a little more time to get there. But just like you said, attention's attention, and social media has changed it. This is why this is a good discussion between all three of us, because you guys are making me see things in different ways. Let's go to the phone lines. We're going to go to area code 289. Thanks for holding. You're on live with the Red Man Group. Go ahead.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking the call.
Absolutely.
I was in the caller a few weeks ago asking about hedonism. This time I'm asking about what Donovan Sharp calls red pill meathead, how to transition out of that.
Okay.
I watched a buddy months ago. He got zeroed out. He hit rock bottom.
Mm-hmm.
His baby mama cuffed him after he put her through school. Oh. And I'm just doing a cost analysis and ROI. And this guy was on suicide watch, basically. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah. Thanks for calling. What he's talking about when he says meathead red pill guy, and I think and we've all seen this guy. Meathead red pill guy is the guy who just found the red pill. They use definitive statements. Never get married. Never gonna commit. If she, I don't care how hot she is. If she fucks up one time, she's fucking gone. I don't give a fuck. That's meathead red pill guy who thinks he knows the game but doesn't really know the game. And this episode is perfect for this, because if this episode shows anything, if you guys haven't learned anything from what we're talking about, is that every decision a man makes with a woman, it's got to be nuanced. The decisions I make are going to be very different from the decisions that Steve makes. The standards and qualifications that Steve has are going to be very different from the standards and qualifications that Anthony has. The red pill is not black and white. Meathead red pill guy thinks it's black and white, but everything is very nuanced. There are multiple layers. So he's talking about his friend who's on suicide watch because he put his baby mama through school and now she's left him. It's a sad story, but Steve, what are your thoughts on that, man?
All right, well, the thing is that I'm starting to see something with a lot of guys that sit around and just use the word red pill loosely, and that's one of the biggest issues that I'm seeing. Look, I can tell you guys I'm Superman all goddamn day, but until you see me fucking fly and run faster than a fucking locomotive, then I'm not Superman. This is not something that the thing, and this is a shameless plug for Anthony's 21 convention, guys. Don't forget convention Poland. But what I'm saying is that red pill is not something you put on like a coat, and that's where a lot of y'all guys think something, or you can hang up like a hat. We're trying to show you that this is a man is internally. This works on the inside. If you're saying you're something but you're not living that life, you're just lying to yourselves. So you call it a meathead, Donovan. I just call it a man that's lying to himself or is afraid to look at his truth, because it's not about a color. To me, it's a mindset. Don't sit around and scream and beat your chest. Say, look, you know, when you have money and when you're in a rich place, you don't have to ask how much something costs. You know what I mean? You don't need to go around screaming you're something. You're not need to scream. I've never ever seen, since I've seen A1 or Donovan or any other guy, I've never seen him walk around. Hey, good morning. Hey, I'm red pill, man. Hey, you know what? Hey, Steve, I'm going to Poland. Oh, hey, Steve, I've got to tell you, I'm red pill. You don't see that shit with real motherfuckers, because you don't have to tell a motherfucker you red pill, because when you red pill, those around you who are red pill already know. That's all I wanted to say on that, man.
No, I agree 100%, Steve. People typically, not always, but typically people who are something, you don't talk about it very much because it's internalized and you just don't care. You know, if you're alpha, you don't walk around saying, I'm alpha as fuck, bitch. Unless you're fucking with people, trolling them on purpose. If you're red pill, you don't say, I'm red pill. I get it. You just don't care. Another thing too, with the red pill, I think seeing the red pill, seeing the truth is different from understanding it.
Yes.
They're not the same thing. And what I've realized at 30 now, my ripe old age, right? But I'm feeling my age a little bit, right? And I'm not a teenager anymore by a long shot, and I'm not in my 20s anymore, I'm in my 30s. Independent of how smart you are, independent of even experience, which is a big factor, independent of the knowledge you've been fortunate enough to find and then digest and genuinely accept it as true, it still takes time, just raw time, to understand women. It takes cold approaches. It takes, the experience that accumulates over time, but even the time to just mature and digest and go through other parts of life that give you reference experiences and additional input for how the world fucking works. You then pull that back into women. You apply that to your red pill understandings of women and the knowledge that you believe is true. But yet it just takes time. Like you could have given me all these ideas we have now that are in my head. You could have given them to me at 21. I could have agreed with you. It wouldn't matter even if I had all the experience to do now, because it just takes fucking time. It takes time to rewire your brain and internalize these things to the point of action and making it fluid, right? I guess like maybe Neo out of the Matrix or whatever. It just becomes, eventually you don't have to dodge bullets, right? You just don't have to. Kind of like that old, the thing from Morpheus.
I'm with you. You see the code in the Matrix, and I remember
Yeah.
when Neo asks him, "Are you telling me that I can dodge bullets?" And Morpheus says, "No, I'm telling you that when you figure it out, you won't have to." And there at the end, he looks down the hallway at the agents, and he sees them in Matrix code.
Exactly.
And before
everyone thinks that comes from like some super hardcore red pill knowledge. They just find that one idea or that one thing or this one community. No, it's like, that was a movie. In real life, this shit takes time.
It does.
It's not just about the experience. It's not just about the knowledge. It's not just about the ideas. It's not just about failures and success and going through all this shit with women. It just takes time. You have to be patient. Dude, and it's already finally come to appreciate that.
You don't sit in a chair and then they put something in your neck and I know Kung Fu. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to go out here and you have to experience this stuff. And before we go to the phone lines, to me, I compare it to fucking. You can have watched porn all your life and have never had sex. You can know every position, this and that and the other. You don't learn to fuck by watching other people fuck. You learn to fuck by fucking. If you want to really get down to the brass tacks. So I think that's a good analogy there. 914-205-5356 is the number to call. Area code 845. You are on live with the Red Man Group. Go ahead.
Hey guys, you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. So I wrote the message before the name Penny Ostreicher. So you guys
that's you.
Pronounce my name right.
Okay, Penny Ostreicher.
Yeah, thank you so much for addressing the comment. Before I continue speaking, I want to let you guys know that English is not my first language, pretty much my third one, so I'll try my very best.
Listen, you sound good so far.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, first of all, I want to thank you guys for everything, the 21 conventions. It's amazing stuff. And Anthony, thank you so much for your work and all you other guys. I had a hard time it was limited for me to basically explain my question that I had about NPD, BPD. So let me rephrase it again.
Okay.
Because I think it was a little bit miscommunicated. I don't know how much time I have to speak, but pretty much
go ahead. You're good. Take your time.
I was married for 13 years to one woman. I got married when I was 20. This is the community I'm coming out from. So I had to kind of leave a religion, and long story short, we had 3 children, got divorced. I didn't have a chance to date too many women. And then I went into a rebound relationship. I was trying to pretty much educate myself about women as much as I can, found this woman, stood my ground, had frame control to a degree, and it went very well. All of a sudden, the tables turned, and she was bitching that I'm not committing to a relationship.
Uh-oh.
Long story short, so basically, I pulled away. She was crying. I felt bad for her, and I was like beating myself up. Why do you feel bad for her? You need to go out there and see your opportunities and find other women. But at the end of the game, I stuck around, and she became the biggest nightmare in a very covert way. Meaning to say, was never accountable for anything, stonewalling me completely. So everything was, deflecting. I'm trying to make it as short as possible. It threw me into complete, I lost ground and a lot of rumination. So I started binge watching all these, and I think Anthony, him, Richard Grannon, and the rest of them.
Oh yeah.
About personality disorders. But from there, and I literally started seeing copy paste. Like I went to a therapist at one point, and it threw me off course. I couldn't focus on my business. It was pretty difficult.
It's a mind job.
So What?
I said it's a mind job, man. It really works on your mind.
It does. And I constantly demand it for myself to be stronger. The point is that then I bumped into the red pill idea, and I'm like, holy shit, as strong as I thought I was, a lot of certain behaviors of mine was like really empathetic, caring, good communication, the regular stuff. I don't know if you can call it beta, or I don't know what title to put on it, but it's definitely confusing right now, looking into all, I don't know which name to mention, Rollo Tomasi or the rest of them, just the idea of how women think and how men are, what they're really looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I started using that with that girl, breaking away from her, coming back to her, trying to detach myself, being more of an asshole, standing my ground. It works sometimes, but the rules are not really the same, supposedly. Meaning to say, because if she is a highly narcissistic or potentially psychopath, then she always needs to be in control. Like whatever you're going to do, she's always bouncing back and has to be in control. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah, listen.
So-
no, go ahead. Finish out. Go ahead.
No. So basically, this is the confusing part. It's true that it's my fault right now that I'm not going out there and, trying to hook up with other women. So potentially I can learn more about the differences between you guys. Just were talking about it before. Like you need to go out there and fuck and pretty much learn it on your own, not just, knowing the information. So I agree with that part. Just for me, I'm trying to clear up this confusion. Like, I'm like, who is a normal woman? Who is disordered? How much should I beat myself up? Did I do something wrong? Or no, there are certain things that I was totally not wrong. Just this woman is disordered.
And I think I can, let me talk this guy real quick. So, I mean, here's my first thought. I think you're kind of like halfway down the rabbit hole right now, the red pill rabbit hole. And I think where you're going to end up at when you leave the rabbit hole, when you get to the end of it and then leave, is that you'd be surprised how thin the line is between a normal woman who's not disordered and a woman who has some set of a cluster B disorder or some
a wide disparity.
Yeah, or some set of symptoms that are at a minimum giving you the impression or suspicion that maybe she has something like seriously wrong with her, which is a lot. There's like 15 to 20% of women or some shit have like a mental health disorder, even more,
right?
Like up to 23%. Whether it's depression or NPD or BPD or all kinds of shit. Like this is not just women, but men too. Like a big chunk of men have personality disorders. So at the end of the day, though,
all right.
The issue today with this, Richard Grandin gets into it on a video on our channel at 21 Studios. We have basically understanding like female narcissists and stuff. They're trained, when they're unchained by culture and by religion and by, men in a culture that don't, give them boundaries and stuff, women, disordered or not, act out in really fucked up ways. And the problem with that today is that is not talked about, and that is like suppressed massively through blue pill conditioning across every facet of culture. I mean, for you to even ask this question on air like this, most people would scream at you, "Oh, this guy's a misogynist. He just hates women. He's better from a relationship." All this fucking bullshit. No, like you're trying to really solve a riddle in your head. Like, is this woman fucking nuts, or is this how women are, or maybe she's a little bit nuts and just being extra womanly or something? You have to figure. You're basically in the process of figuring this out. And I think a few months from now, a few years from now, you'll answer your own question over time by doing the research like you're doing and asking these kind of questions and thinking about it and shit, digesting what you're reading and what you're seeing. And rant.
All right. I want to take this on the other side of the spectrum for this young man. I wrote some things down that you said. You talked about learning about women. You talked about her crying and you feeling bad for her, the gator tears. You talked about you're sticking around with a woman who's not accountable. You talked about reading books and things like that. So let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Use Anthony and Donovan as an example, young man. Anthony and Donovan can read as many books as they want. You want to know why? Because they just don't read books. They go outside their door and they learn what the real world is like. The problem with a lot of you guys out there, y'all read these 4 or 5 books and you think that's the end all be all by reading a book. And I know you're from another country, but over here there's a wide receiver by the name of Jerry Rice, one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. Okay, and his greatness was displayed on the football field, but what you saw on Sunday was a byproduct of the hard work he did on the back end, the stuff that nobody saw. You just saw the byproduct on the football field. What I mean by that is this. You guys can't read a book to learn how to catch a football. You can't read a book to learn how to drive. And you can't keep reading books thinking that is going to be the antithesis of every woman, because all women are different. All women have different personalities, but until you get out there and not only learn about women, but most importantly, learn about yourself. See, you were so busy trying to learn about women, you never really took the time to learn you and have a standard. Because if you had a standard, there wouldn't be no gator tears. There wouldn't be her guilting you. There wouldn't be you sitting here saying, I was with a woman who wasn't accountable. When you learn more about yourself, yeah, if you want to read a book, but don't just read a book. Get your ass out there and learn about the real world that sometimes books can't show you. A book, when a book is printed, that's all it can teach you is whatever's on that piece of paper. That's as far as it goes. The world still moves and still changes. Women still move and operate on different levels. And if you stick into just reading and not getting out there and learning about manhood and learning about yourself, you're going to be in these situations where I can't blame the woman for treating you and being mean to you. Listen, I don't like when women do y'all wrong. But one thing I can't do is I can't blame her for something you have allowed her to do. Right. You allowed her to do that. She didn't do it. She just tried to test what you all call shit test. She shit tested you and realized that you were soft. You had no spine and you compromised. So again, she's going to use the gator tears and she's not going to be accountable because like Anthony and Donovan have been telling you all show long is that we train these women on how to treat us. We don't allow them just to run rapid and wild in our lives and do what they want to do. Fuck no. Guys.
Listen, you're absolutely right. And I think they call this red pill masturbation. And I'm not accusing the caller of, red pill masturbating, but there are a lot of guys out there who find the red pill and they never put it into action. They like to read it. They like to be involved in videos. They like to chat and talk about theories, but they never really go out there and do it. Well, I'm red pill and I'm this, that, and the other. No, you're not shit until you actually go out there and do that, right? We got guys from, coming in here talking about another show. I'm sure these other shows are great, but it doesn't do you any good watching us or watching them or whoever it is. This is why the 21 convention is where it's at, because the 21 convention is tangible, right? This show, listen, this show is important. My show is important. Steve's show is important. But in terms of relevance, it pales in comparison to actually seeing, feeling, shaking hands with men who are tangible, men who are in front of you. You understand what I'm saying? Listen, it's one thing to have a YouTube channel and be an influencer. Okay, great. But unless you take your online success and parlay that with offline success, you're really just masturbating along with everybody else. I'm going to continue to do my show because this is how I grow my audience. But next summer, I plan on taking the party offline like Anthony Johnson did, 10, 12 years ago. That's the difference. Likes and dislikes only matter on the internet. Likes and dislikes are important to people who don't want to apply the red pill. Oh, you've got this many likes, you got this many dislikes. Okay, that's all well and good. But what does it matter out in the real world? What are you going to go out there and tell somebody out in the real world? Well, this show got 100 dislikes. That doesn't mean
Donovan, think about this. Think about what it means when a human being, when a man in the manosphere or whatever, watches one of our videos and hits the like button or dislike button or whatever, right? Okay, cool. I appreciate you engaging with the content. Now compare that to 21Con or doing your own workshop, Donovan Sharp stuff, maybe a year from now or something.
Yeah.
Someone, in the case of 21 Convention, which I know more about, obviously, 200 men or whatever fly around from around the world. Most do not live in Florida or Poland or whatever where we're doing it. The majority they're flying in, for a 2-hour flight, a 5-hour flight, a 10-hour flight. Some even fly in from like India, New Zealand, and Australia and shit. It's fucking wild, man.
Crazy.
They buy the flight. They take time out of their life. They buy the ticket. It's over $1,000 US. They get a hotel. They pay for Ubers, parking, food, all this shit. They have invested think about that like button. That's the ultimate fucking like button. Right. When someone has the balls and the tenacity and the investment and the care and the value to show the fuck up out of respect for themselves and for you and for what you're doing to be a part of it, that's a like button times like a million. These little fucking losers that are tracking all my content right now, downvoting these little sock puppets.
Well, look at your analytics. You're not okay. That's fine.
Dude, but these guys are fat Cartman, South Park motherfuckers playing World of Warcraft, eating Cheeto dust all over them and shit. And they're just like downvoting and shit because they're fucking losers with nothing else to do. And I appreciate when people hit the like button, but really, man, you want the like button for what we do, for what I do, for what all these men do. Meet them in real life at 21 Convention or anything else that they do, like a workshop or something. I know Tanner Guzzi and Ed Lattimore and AJ Cortez, for example, are doing a workshop in November or something this year in California. Like, that's another event you should go to. 21 convention, we've had 3 this year. 1 already, the Patriarch, now Poland and Orlando, then more next year. Show the fuck up. You care about this community, you care about this content, you care about your own life and getting the most out of it, and getting the most input and the most advice from these men, the panelists and stuff. Meet them, shake their hand, have dinner, have coffee, maybe go pick up some chicks, do something, man.
Yeah.
Get up off your ass and show the fuck up. Put your ass in the seat.
Listen, acting on verba, man. That's the way it goes.
That's right. Acting on verba. Actions on words, or actions over words.
I totally agree. And listen, I'm not gonna sit here and say that analytics aren't important. But again, when you compare it to an offline event, a tangible event, something that you can access outside of your phone. See this? I've got the Redman group on my phone right now. What is this? Is this going to help me out in the real world? Hell no. My phone, nothing in my phone, nothing intangible is going to help me. What's going to help me is going out and meeting guys like Anthony, guys like Steve, guys like myself. Just like you said, Ed Lattimore, AJ Cortez, and Tanner Guzzi. Dude, those guys are top guns, man. So as far as likes and dislikes are concerned, and by the way, dislikes are still engagements. So whoever that person was, well, you enjoy your 100 dislikes. Actually, we kind of will. Because a dislike is an engagement. A negative comment is an engagement. So every person that comes in here and wants to talk shit about our numbers and figures, you're doing us a favor. You're giving us views. You're giving us watch time. You're giving us engagement. So we appreciate that. So go back over and watch your other show. Listen, I'm sure the other show is great. I like every guy over there. No problem. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not trying to get into the weeds here. But the recent splits that have happened, when you think about it, and I know Anthony probably feels a little bit differently because of the situation. But as far as I'm concerned, I think everybody wins because there's not just one show anymore. Now there are 2 shows where groups of men, panelists, are talking about the same things. There might be some fundamental differences, but now you have 2 shows that are dedicated to red pill comments. So for anyone who wants to talk shit, oh, you picked the wrong side and this, that, the other, no. I didn't pick any side. I'm on the red pill side, and like or dislike the guys over there or over here. At the end of the day, we're all on the same side. We might not all like each other for various reasons, but I think the red pill community wins in the end.
I want to say something real quick. And guys, y'all gotta understand something. It's not necessarily about size to me. It's about men. See, I never choose sides.
That's about dick size, right?
You
said sides. My bad.
Sides.
Sides.
Size. Okay. Sides. Not size. Yo, you confusing me. Shut the fuck up. Let me finish, man.
My bad.
What I'm saying is this, guys, is that real. See, in the black community, they got this thing called real, recognize real.
That's right.
Okay, and it is not a question whatsoever. When I met Anthony, well, I've known about Anthony, but when I met him, he was a real motherfucker. And you don't believe, I tell him that all the time, and I keep telling him, because when you recognize a real motherfucker, just like Donovan, you recognize real, you know that these motherfuckers ain't playing games. They're here to help, and they're trying to do things. They're not running around like this. Like I told y'all, in this Matrix, you got those Agent Smiths. You're going to have guys out there hating Anthony for what he's doing because they don't want that information out, because most of the time they're trying to protect mommy.
Yes.
They're trying to protect women. They don't want you guys to know the truth, because if you know the truth, that means you can't be in that crab in the bucket barrel with the rest of them motherfuckers out there that's hating something. But in hate is great. Why? Because they're taking time out of their schedule. Anthony and Donovan don't know they don't know any of these guys. But you know what? Those guys know them. Anthony and Donovan don't wake up every morning saying, oh, gee, I guess Roger doesn't like me today. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Thinking every day. Anthony's thinking about cookies and babies and whatever the fuck he's saying. Nothing Donovan thinking about what him and Devin going to be chilling and doing. They ain't thinking about these motherfuckers. But that's how men behave. We push forward. Y'all got, listen, last thing I want to say, for all y'all guys out there, recognize the behaviors of feminine energy, drama, pointing the finger, being a victim and not liking someone because their pee-pee got hurt. Man, fuck them bitches, man.
100% facts, son. Facts.
Yeah. I bet. Listen, that's a good way to end the show. Unless anybody else, anything else.
Donovan, I got a comment here. So I was following what you were saying, Donovan. I appreciate it. Obviously, my own take's a bit different. I've commented plenty publicly.
Sure.
My basic thought is this: the split that we just saw, that went down, that's the manosphere and the red pill community healing itself. I make no apology for kicking out traitors from our midst. I don't believe the men that are gone now have a real dedication to truths, including red pill truths. These men are either shills for money or for a cult of personality. They are not here for the red pill. They're not here for men. They're not here for the manosphere. We are, and I make no apology about that. No mercy.
Hashtag no mercy. All right. On that note, guys, that is going to do it for the 72nd episode of the Red Man Group. We appreciate everyone who has come in. We appreciate all of the commenters. Penny with the $1.99 super chat. Rob Cruz with the $30 super chat. Herman Mayorga with the $1 super chat. Mayorga, I've only heard that name once. That was Ricardo Mayorga. I think he was, a middleweight champion at some point or another. You guys be sure to follow all of us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just type in our names. You guys can tune into my show Monday through Friday now. And I usually go on the air about noon, Friday, sometimes around 9. And then, of course, be sure to subscribe to my Patreon. That's patreon.com/Donovan Sharp. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe on my channel. Go to donovansharp.com anytime. Right now, I am actually giving away I'm giving away my 7-hour, 5-part audio course on how to build a quality woman from the ground up. This is a compilation of all of the episodes I did on Build a Better Woman Week. It is absolutely free. All you got to do is subscribe to my email list. And you guys know I'm not one to blow up your email. I only email you stuff that's important. So get on over to donovansharp.com/free-course. Again, that's donovansharp.com/free-course to get your hands on that. Steve, anything you're working on this week? Anything you want people to know about?
No, I just want to let everyone know that we have the Red Pill Mindset Show on this station on Monday. So make sure.
Good show.
Man, and also I do hit and run shows all the time, guys. So just add the Man Mindset to Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. When I'm gonna do a Riding with the Dean where I answer questions like that, I'll post it there and let you guys know. But at the end of the day, I do want to say thank you to you, Donovan. Thank you for you, Anthony, for who the fuck y'all are. And I do want to say one more goddamn thing on my soapbox. Don't think the difference between this war, what's going on, what Anthony's doing, and what they are doing are the same. As a man, you are allowed to defend your fucking self. You're allowed to defend your company. You're allowed to defend your motherfucking name. And that's all A1 has been doing up to this point. A1 is not acting feminine. A1 is not bitching. He's just doing what men do when tries to bust in their fucking house and try to take over and try to call them out on shit. So y'all need to learn from what Anthony is doing and don't judge what he's doing, because this is how men respond. See, do you know Anthony's like this? Anthony's a cool motherfucker, but I tell you this, don't take his kindness for weakness, or what you see, what you haven't see right there is what you get from a real man. All Anthony's doing is being a man. He's not showing feminine behaviors by talking shit and trying to do things to hurt his product and his brand. I didn't mean to get on my soapbox, but I just need y'all guys out there to understand what the difference is how men behave. As a man, remember, you go and expand your territory, but you defend it as well. So if he's defending it, don't look at it like he's being, why is he acting all feminine? He's not acting feminine. He's just a man protecting his own. So y'all guys need to look and see how the real game is. That's all I wanted to say, man.
Good.
I appreciate that, Steve. I'm a man taking out the manosphere of virtue signaling trash, and I make no apology for it. But in terms of positivity and things I'm putting out content-wise, I will be releasing my full 2018 keynote speech at the convention.
Yeah.
The future is still masculine. That'll be releasing this weekend, either this evening or most likely tomorrow on Sunday. The full thing will go out. It'll be at 21 Studios. I might cross-post it to Red Man Group, but I'm trying to keep that minimal. I think most of it should just be RMG content, obviously.
Okay, cool.
But there's a good, cross-compatibility between the channels. That's a super fun talk. I got a standing ovation for it. I was very proud. I put my heart and soul into it, and it was savage as fuck. I think it's the best talk I ever gave, but I'm happy to hear the feedback and what the viewers think tomorrow when it goes out for free. Of course, it's been at 21 University for a long time, about a month now or something like that, a couple weeks, maybe like a month and a half.
Okay.
And anybody at Redman Group can join 21 University and support the Redman Group by joining it through the link in the description. Underneath all the Redman Group videos, just like a join 21 University RMG link. And I appreciate you guys' support, and I look forward to meeting a lot of you guys soon in Warsaw, Poland, and then later this year, Orlando, Florida. Off my soapbox.
Excellent.